the Chevy Blazer EV. Not the gas, but the electric Chevy Blazer. What's up, guys? Gavin McGrath here with McGrath Auto, episode 13 of the Showroom. Excited about today's episode. We are talking about the Chevy Blazer EV. Not the gas, but the electric Chevy Blazer. Rated the number 2 electric mid-size SUV by Car and Driver magazine. An EPA estimated 283 to 334 miles of range. So some really good range for an EV, with the price starting at $45,995. That's the LT front-wheel drive, going all the way up to $61,995, the all-wheel drive SS, which will be the first time they brought back the SS trim level on the Blazer. They are being produced right now. We'll get into that. Trim level-wise, you have the LT, the RS, and the SS trim levels. The standard options, which are always fun to talk about, 17.7-inch LCD display with Google built-in capabilities. So let's take a look at what that looks like on this Blazer EV we have in stock. These 17.7-inch screens, which GM is now, it seems to be like a staple. So you have the 17.7-inch touchscreen here. It's kind of tilted towards the driver. And the 11-inch infotainment center, the driver infotainment center. Really good looking interior of the vehicle. They crushed it. It also has a standard Bose premium 8-speaker audio system. And on the rear-wheel drive LT is where you get the 334-mile range. 283 on the all-wheel drive. The SS trim level, as I mentioned, is in production now. 595 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds in what they call the WOW mode, which is the wide open watts. So this is now competing with the Tesla, the Ford Mach-E, those types of vehicles. Super Cruise technology on that SS, which is sweet. Bembo brakes, just an upgraded, heavier duty brake, and HD surround vision and heads-up display are all standard on that SS. As I mentioned, they'll be in production. They are in production now. We expect to see those probably within the next 2 to 3 months, if not sooner. The top competitors in this segment, it's real when you really boil it down to like actual mid-size SUV, it's Kia EV9, the Honda Prologue, and the Jeep Wagoneer S would be the top competitors. But when you look at this segment, I would say, and it is kind of a downside of the Blazer, that you are actually still competing with an Equinox EV, for example, right? And so it is a little higher price than the Equinox EV and other competitors in that segment, because I think you're talking kind of to the same buyer. It's very niche, somebody that would want to come in and get a Blazer because it's kind of a cooler looking, sportier vehicle. Still only has 2 rows, so it's a 5-passenger, just like the Equinox, just not quite as big. The Equinox is not quite as big as the Blazer, but I still think this thing's amazing. How does it feel? Really roomy and quiet cabin. Smooth ride over bumps. I'd give it an 8.7 as far as how it feels. I've driven this vehicle a lot over the last couple days. How does it look? 8.8. I do want to pull up what that thing looks like. I just think this thing looks really cool. All right, this is the SS model. Okay, this is Chevy's build and price section of the website. This thing is just really has some nice eye appeal to it, some great curves, really good looking vehicle. How much is it? 8.0. Now, if you were just to stick to the mid-size SUV EV class, it's definitely competitive in there. But again, I think you talk to a broader audience with this vehicle, and why I give it an 8.0 is because you can get into an Equinox EV for much less, right? We've talked about that vehicle before on this show. Overall, we give it an 8.5. I would say from a stocking standpoint, this vehicle, as I mentioned, is more of a niche vehicle. Really cool, but niche. We sold a total of 7 Blazer EVs last year. That is not a lot. All right, that's less than 0.6 a month. Okay, now we think that we can do a little more, and we do have some stock now. We have 4 total available. 2 of those are here on the ground, and we're predicting that we sell basically 2 a month. Okay, 1 to 2 a month depending. And with that in mind, you have to be strategic, because if you have a month that you just sell, all of a sudden they have a great incentive and you sell 3 or 4, you won't see one in stock for, another 30, probably more like 60 to 90 days. So but we're going to kind of stick into that. Like, we want 4 total available, which is, if our goal is 2, That's about a 2-month supply. But again, kind of 1 to 2. So 4 seems to be that sweet spot for us and what we want to have in stock and total available with 2 or 3 of those on the ground. As I mentioned, I think what hurts this vehicle is its very niche unit. It competes with that Equinox style, crossover style SUV, but price exceeds it by quite a bit. However, the lease is outstanding on this vehicle. I did pull up the lease on a 2024 just because it is a little stronger and we have some big discounts on it. So I want to show a little lower lease payment. Can you blame me? We have about a $4,000 discount on this all-wheel drive radiant red tint coat in stock right now. Pretty sweet looking wheels. $52,190 is the MSRP. The discount is $4,000 with a residual value of 67% at 36 months, 10,000 miles a year. Okay. All you do is you take that $52,190 MSRP, you times it by 67%, and your residual is $34,967. So in a lease, you're just paying for that difference. And remember that the price still becomes negotiable in a lease. So if you're going shopping at dealers, and yes, you want to negotiate your lease payment, but a price is part of that. Okay. So $34,967 is the residual value. The money factor is only 1.15% with A-tier credit through GM Financial. I think we looked last week at the Tahoe, it was around 7.8. So 1.15% through 8 with GM Financial. Okay. So given about $2,500 to down to take care of your first payment and tax down license, only $340 a month. That's a lot of vehicle for $340 a month. $52,000 MSRP. That includes, because, you know, as we've talked about before, GM Financial gets the $7,500 tax credit, which is still in place. We'll see where that goes in the future here. But that $7,500 tax credit, GM Financial gets that, hence why the residual is so high, okay? Only $340 a month to drive a $52,000 vehicle. That ain't bad. That's pretty gosh dang good, guys. An unbelievable car. I would recommend checking them out. If you're looking at that crossover EV, take a peek. When you can drive it for that low of a monthly payment and the options from the base LT, which still has some great technology, all the way up to the SS, one of the coolest trims that Chevy and GM in general have ever had, that making a comeback, you got to come see it when it gets here, guys. Thanks for your time today on the showroom. We'll see you next time.